Hey guys, today we're going to be drawing an abstract flower. I'm using the iPad Pro with the Apple Pencil and the Procreate app. If you're new to Procreate, I also have a video called 25 Procreate Tips and Tricks, which I suggest to watch first because as I draw, I'll be using these shortcut actions. I will link that video below. So grab your favorite tea or coffee and let's start drawing. So here's my reference image on the top left. I actually created this using Midjourney. It's a really fun process. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna try to duplicate this on the right-hand side. So there's a couple ways to do this. I can just grab the colors off the flower itself, or I can import the color palette. So just to quickly show you how to import the color palette, Procreate has a new way just by going up here and then hitting the plus sign. And I'm gonna grab it from my photos. So hit new from photos. Then I'm gonna click this. And here is all of my colors. I'm pretty sure that there might be a few more colors in there that's not showing up here, but I think this is substantial enough. So the way I'm gonna do it is I'm just gonna grab it from the flower itself. So there's another two ways of doing this using your finger and your Apple Pencil. So you can click on this little square right there and click anywhere on the picture and you can see the color wheel pop up. So let's say I want that blue, then it's gonna show up on my color palette. The other way to do it is just to hold your finger down and the same thing. And then it'll pop up right there. So let's start off with the basics first. I have the reference image on layer 1 and my sketch on layer 2. And then I'm gonna create another layer, layer 3, which I'm gonna put underneath layer 2, and that's where I'm gonna draw. So I'm just gonna start from the center of each leaf, and we're actually gonna do each leaf on a separate layer. So let's start off by just grabbing a round brush or just a hard brush, and it's gonna look, if I make it really big, it's just gonna be like that. Okay, so we're gonna start off with the dark purple. And then we're gonna grab the lighter colors as it goes out. Now it might look like a giant mess right now, but we're gonna be blending it later on. And sometimes if it doesn't look quite right, I'm just gonna actually go into my color palette. Then I'm gonna go into disc and I'm gonna select a lighter shade from there. All right, so that is what we're left with. And next we're gonna go into the blending brush, which is right beside the paintbrush. And we're gonna click on that to make sure it's set at an airbrush. And then we're gonna slowly blend it. Now this may take a little bit of time, so you gotta have patience. And I'm just lightly doing this right now. And then we're probably gonna have to tweak it after. You can always increase your brush size. Now, if you want to blend the whole thing a little bit more, we're going to select a larger brush size. And then now we're going to go back and tweak it. So as you recall, we used a hard brush just to do the base layers like that. But you can also experiment and you can use the airbrush as well if you want to try that and see if it blends a little bit better. So now to tweak it, I know it looks nothing like that. We're just gonna add more color. And this time I'm gonna use an airbrush. Again, there is no right and wrong. We're just doing art. And I think what really makes this flower unique is all of the different contrasting colors and the blends. Okay, so now if you see in between, there's kind of like these hair strokes. This really soft, satiny feel with some gold highlights. So let's just try to mimic that. So I do have a hairbrush. I'm gonna try to see how that looks. And I will link below where to get these hairbrushes. So I'm just lightly just doing a feathering. I don't know if you can see that. And we wanna go in the direction of the leaf. So with the hairbrush, I'm actually going to select a lighter shade of that part, just so you can see the difference in the contrast. And you can also see some really light highlights. So I'm going to use a white. And I'm not trying to copy the picture exactly. I just kind of want to get the same vibe. I kind of want to make it unique. And I guess it kind of would be impossible to create something exactly the same as an AI image. And you kind of want to put your own twist into things. Next, let's put some of these little stringy bits. It's like a dark brown, I guess. And for this, I'm gonna use just my round brush again, but I'm gonna make it really small. And in fact, I'm probably gonna create another layer for that just in case I do a mistake. And then we're probably gonna have to lighten that up and blend it a little bit. And I'm only doing this where the color kind of changes. All right, so I'm gonna grab the airbrush and I'm just gonna make this a little bit less opaque. So just go into the layer, hit N, and then we're gonna bring that down. All right, and then we're gonna try to do this gold color. And for that, I'm also gonna create another layer. And we're gonna make the brush really small. And then we're just gonna follow that line, but we're gonna go right beside it. Now, if you can see that my colors are kind of dull. So I'm gonna go back into this layer and I'm just gonna duplicate that. Then I'm gonna merge that together. And then we can go into our hue, saturation, brightness. We can hit saturate just a little bit more. So now this leaf is just one giant layer. And then next we're gonna take our eraser brush and go back to that hard brush. All right, this is our final result. And again, it doesn't look exactly like that, but we're just using this as an inspirational image. So next we're gonna do the same thing with all of the leaves, but each leaf will be a new layer. So I'm gonna hit plus for a new layer, and I'm gonna do the exact same thing. Now just keep in mind that when you do new layers, just reference the image, and you can see like this leaf is on top of this one. So just make sure you have that in mind when you're playing around with your layers. So I'm just gonna fast forward this part and we'll see you near the end. All right, welcome back. The screen is a little bit brighter because I turned the lights on. So anyway, this is the final product. And all I've done just for the stem is just put a brown color like that. So I'm gonna take off the sketch just to show you how it looks so far. So basically every layer is a new leaf. And we can also enhance this before we move on. So I'm just gonna quickly show you how to do that. So here is this leaf layer, and I just kind of wanna make that a little bit more saturated. So again, we go up into here, hue, saturation, brightness, and I'm gonna increase that just a tad. And I'm gonna do this for each layer. Another thing we could do is also play with the contrast. So let's go back into the adjustments, and then we're gonna go into curves. So I have gamma on, and so I'm on this leaf right here. So you can see, you could play with the levels. And if you see from the original image, there's lots of contrast going on here. All right, so next we're gonna do this gold outline on each leaf. So let's create a new layer. I've got a gold selected. And this time I'm gonna use a glitter brush, and I'm gonna link that brush below as well. And it's a glitter pen. I think I created this one actually. Again, I will link it below. And we're just gonna go on the outer edges. And if I go really close, you can kind of see that glitter texture. And you can also go over it just to give it more of a greater contrast. You can go over certain parts. And I kind of find that my lines are a little bit too thick, so I'm just gonna erase just the edges just to make a tad bit thinner. So now let's go on to the leaves. So I've already got the base color of brown, and we're just gonna grab this lighter shade of gold. And this part's really simple, and we're just gonna put a line like this. And that is because the light is shining from the left. Okay, let's turn back on the sketch. And then we're just gonna do a base color in an airbrush. And we're basically doing the same thing as we did with the leaves. We've got to create a new layer actually. So let's just make a new layer on top. And there's so much color in this flower. It's kind of hard to get everything. All right, and now we're just gonna blend it. Okay, next we're gonna turn on Alpha Lock on this leaf layer. And what Alpha Lock does is it locks that layer. So if I wanna draw, it will draw only within what I've already colored and it's not gonna go outside. So this makes it handy for us to just add some of that texture. So I'm gonna go back into the hair and I got a white. And then we're just gonna quickly do some of these strokes. And then last, you can see some of the veins. So again, we're gonna grab the calligraphy brush and just really lightly just do a little line like that. And then I can see there's some thicker lines that go out like that. And then we're gonna grab this dark brown. I'm just gonna put a tiny little bit of shadow here just to create some depth. And then we're just gonna lightly blend that, just so that it's not so harsh. And so for the middle, let's see how we can do this. Let's create a new layer. And I'm just gonna grab this brown. I'm totally just gonna wing it. I'm still on my calligraphy brush. And I actually want to put this layer at the very top. So just gonna do these little strokes like that. And then maybe just some lighter shades. And then I'm just gonna go back and grab that glitter brush. Try to do this quickly so I can finish this video. And then I guess just some little dots here and there, just to simulate some bulbs, I guess. That looks pretty cool. So just looking at this as a final product, you can always go back and put more contrast at the leaves underneath here. So obviously when you have layers on top of each other, the ones underneath are going to be darker at the edges. So I've grouped all the layers together and I just want to put a tiny bit of a drop shadow. So I am going to duplicate this group and then I'm going to merge it. So it's flatten. Then I'm going to bring this all the way down. And let me just get rid of that reference layer. And let's turn this black. So let's go to hue, saturation, brightness, make that all the way to black. And then we're going to move it off to the side a little bit. Then we're going to go back to the adjustments, Gaussian blur. I'm just dragging my finger at the top so you can see the percentages right now. Go up. So I'm going to go to like 8%. Then I'm going to go into the layer with the shadow, hit the N, and just decrease that opacity. So there you go. There is your abstract floral. I'd love to see how yours turned out. If you drew it, you can email me. My email's in my bio. Hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you have anything you'd like to draw, please drop a comment below. For more drawing tutorials and gadget reviews, be sure to subscribe to Draw with Marina.